Have you ever wondered why, despite all your spiritual effort, your twin flame union still feels out of reach? Why the more you chase alignment, the more distant harmony seems to become? For centuries, society has told us that love depends on effort, pursuit, and sacrifice. Yet deep within, you sense that something about this story doesn't feel right, that there's a deeper, hidden truth about divine connection that no one ever told you. In today's video, we'll uncover a truth that challenges almost everything you've been taught about love and spiritual relationships. We'll explore the ancient wisdom that patriarchal structures have long hidden, the same wisdom Carl Jung rediscovered through his profound studies of the human psyche, the animus and anima, and the sacred dance between the masculine and feminine energies within the soul. You'll discover that in every twin flame connection, it is the feminine energy, not the masculine, that determines whether true union can manifest. By the end of this video, you'll no longer view your connection as something you must chase, fix, or force. Instead, you'll see the divine mechanics behind your journey, a cosmic law as unshakable as gravity itself. This understanding will shift how you perceive both love and yourself, empowering you to align with the creative force that has always been within you. So stay until the end, because what you'll discover today has the power to completely transform how you understand twin flame union and how you step into the love that was always meant to be yours. Number 1. The feminine as the creative principle, the source of manifestation. In the sacred journey of twin flames, it is always the feminine energy that determines the course of union. The feminine defines, chooses, and ultimately allows the unfolding of divine connection. Yet, this feminine is not bound to gender or physical form. It is an energetic essence, the creative principle that exists within every soul, whether embodied in a man or a woman. Ancient mystics understood what Carl Jung later affirmed through his studies of the human psyche. The feminine is the original source of creation, the wellspring of manifestation from which all form emerges, while the masculine often appears to be the one who acts, pursues, or builds. This appearance is only half the truth. Beneath the surface, the masculine functions as the reactive and responsive pole, aligning itself to the energetic field that the feminine creates. The feminine generates the magnetic current of attraction, the invisible force that shapes the entire dynamic. The masculine does not control this current. He tunes to it, reflects it, and moves in harmony with it. This is the divine dance, the eternal rhythm between creator and reflector, between intention and embodiment. However, this sacred truth has been deeply distorted over centuries. Society, driven by patriarchal conditioning, has convinced those who carry dominant feminine energy that they must chase love, prove their worth, and sacrifice their peace to earn connection. The natural polarity between the two energies became reversed, and with it emerged the exhausting pattern known as the runner and chaser cycle, where one soul desperately pursues while the other withdraws. In truth, this struggle arises not because love is unreciprocated, but because the feminine has been disconnected from her own creative power. The more she chases, the more she abandons the very magnetism that calls love forth naturally. The masculine, sensing this imbalance, mirrors it by retreating, reflecting her own need to return to stillness and self-recognition. The path to union begins when the feminine remembers her true nature, not as the seeker, but as the source. When she reclaims this inner authority, the dance transforms. No longer does she reach outward for validation. Instead, she becomes the field through which love manifests. In her serenity, she awakens the masculine's alignment. In her surrender, she restores balance to the entire connection. And in that remembrance, the illusion of separation dissolves, revealing the timeless truth. Creation itself begins and ends with the feminine principle, the pulse of divine life, moving through all. Number 2. Jung's discovery, the harmony of polarity. Carl Jung devoted much of his life to understanding the hidden architecture of human connection, the unseen forces that draw souls together and, at times, pull them apart. Through his deep study of the psyche, Jung uncovered a universal truth. Every authentic relationship is built upon two complementary polarities, the feminine and the masculine. These are not mere social constructs or physical distinctions. They are the energetic blueprints of creation itself, woven into the soul's design. The feminine, as Jung observed, is not weak, submissive, or dependent. She is receptive, yes, but never passive. Her strength lies in her magnetic stillness, the quiet, knowing presence that chooses, invites, and allows life to unfold through her. Like the earth that determines which seeds will take root, the feminine energy is selective and sovereign. She does not chase, she attracts. She does not demand, she allows. Her power is creation itself, the ability to give birth to reality through alignment, intention, and grace. The masculine, in contrast, is the radiant force of direction and illumination. It is the sun to the earth, bold, giving, and expressive, shining without need for validation or control. The true masculine energy offers without chasing, acts without aggression, and stands firm without domination. It does not seek to possess, but to serve and protect the sacred field of the feminine's creation. When these two energies exist in harmony, when the feminine rests in her magnetic power and the masculine anchors in his radiant presence, attraction becomes effortless, organic, and divine. There is no struggle, no need for pursuit or resistance. The connection flows in perfect rhythm, like day meeting night, like breath entering and leaving the body. But when this polarity is reversed, when the feminine is taught to chase and prove, and the masculine is conditioned to withdraw or dominate, the natural order collapses. The dance of love becomes a struggle for control, birthing chaos, emotional disconnection, and endless cycles of separation. Jung recognized that this distortion had seeped deep into modern consciousness, corrupting how society perceives love and power. He saw that humanity's confusion lay in mistaking energy for gender and dominance for strength. In doing so, we lost touch with the sacred balance that sustains all creation. Jung's revelation was not just psychological, it was spiritual. He reminded us that harmony is not found through control, but through alignment, through remembering that love, in its purest form, is the eternal dance between the receptive and the radiant, between the feminine and the masculine, each completing the other in divine equilibrium. Before we move forward, take a moment to pause and reflect on this truth, that Jung uncovered the sacred balance between the receptive and the radiant, the feminine and the masculine within you. How do these energies manifest in your own life? Do you find yourself giving more than receiving, or chasing what is meant to flow naturally toward you? These questions are not meant to judge, but to awaken awareness, the first step toward real alignment. I'd love to hear your reflections in the comments. Share how you've experienced these energies in your journey, or simply type, "I'm restoring divine balance," to affirm your intention to return to harmony within yourself. Number 3. Energetic misalignment in modern society, the forgotten balance. In today's world, the sacred dance between the feminine and masculine energies has been deeply distorted. Centuries of conditioning have led both principles away from their natural harmony. The feminine has been taught that her value depends on how loudly she can prove her worth, to fight for attention, to chase what should naturally be drawn to her. Meanwhile, the masculine has been conditioned to suppress his innate directive power, to retreat, hesitate, and disconnect from the steady presence that once defined true masculine essence. This inversion has not only weakened individual energy, but has created generations of souls unable to experience authentic inner balance. When this misalignment appears within twin flame dynamics, the effects become even more pronounced. Twin flames operate at a frequency far higher than that of ordinary relationships. Every thought, every emotional wave, every energetic choice ripples through both counterparts. Even the slightest distortion, a moment of neediness, fear, or emotional detachment, can create resistance strong enough to last years or even lifetimes. What feels like rejection or confusion on the surface is often the energetic consequence of polarity inversion, where both souls struggle to remember their true energetic design. Carl Jung observed that the relationships which flourished were those that respected the natural polarity between the masculine and feminine. In his studies, he found that couples who tried to reverse or suppress these roles became trapped in endless cycles of pursuit and withdrawal, one chasing, the other fleeing, both unaware that balance cannot be forced, only allowed. His conclusion was profound yet simple. The feminine energy holds the final key. When she chases, she disrupts the very magnetic field that draws union toward her. But when she stands sovereign in her energy, centered, self-assured, and receptive, the masculine is naturally compelled to align and move forward. True harmony, therefore, is not about control but remembrance. The feminine magnetizes by being, and the masculine fulfills by responding. When both return to their authentic polarity, energy flows effortlessly, and union, whether spiritual or physical, becomes not a battle of will, but a natural convergence of divine design. Number 4. The law of magnetic sovereignty, the return to true power. In the dance of twin flames, one of the most profound energetic truths is that love cannot be chased. It must be magnetized. When the feminine abandons herself in pursuit of the masculine, the energy between them becomes distorted. He pulls away, not out of rejection or indifference, but out of instinct. On a soul level, he senses the reversal of polarity. The field that once felt warm and natural now feels heavy and imbalanced. The chase, though fueled by love, creates resistance, because it asks energy to move against its natural flow. Yet the moment the feminine turns inward, reclaiming her peace, her joy, her self-love, everything changes. Her energy no longer pleads or reaches outward, it radiates from within. The masculine feels this shift instantly, often without understanding why. He is drawn not by demand or persuasion, but by resonance. Like sunlight awakening a flower, her embodied wholeness becomes the force that opens his heart. The law of magnetism takes effect, a silent yet powerful current that pulls what is aligned back into harmony. This is not manipulation or strategy. It is the sacred law of magnetic sovereignty, as constant and natural as the rhythm of breath. When understood, it reveals that true union does not arise from pursuit, control, or waiting for the other to awaken. It blossoms when each soul stands in its authentic polarity, when energy flows in accordance with divine order. To live this truth, one must first recognize the energy they have been giving away and call it home. Only then can love flow freely, not as a chase between two halves, but as the effortless merging of two complete beings aligned with the laws of the universe. Number 5. The feminine's inner work, choosing herself. To move first in the twin flame journey is not to chase or to prove, but to turn inward to end the outward search for love and validation, and to come home to oneself. The feminine's first true movement is not toward the masculine, but toward her own heart. It is the moment she stops reaching for external confirmation and begins to embody her own worth. In that stillness, she remembers that love was never something to earn, it is something she already is. This sacred return marks the beginning of her individuation. As Carl Jung described it, the process of becoming whole, of integrating every fragmented part of the psyche into unity. Through this work, she transforms from dependency into sovereignty. Her energy shifts from the vibration of lack to that of abundance, from seeking to choosing. She no longer asks to be seen. She simply is radiant, self-sustaining, and rooted in her truth. The masculine, attuned by nature to the field she creates, senses this change immediately. Without a word spoken, her frequency calls to him. The pull he feels is not one of need, but of recognition, the soul's instinctive response to harmony. The dynamic between them evolves from pursuit to alignment, from tension to flow. In choosing herself, she does not lose him, she frees both. For when the feminine stands in her wholeness, she becomes the axis around which divine union naturally turns. If you've made it this far, it means this message has spoken to something deep within you, perhaps a truth your soul already knew but needed to hear again. Take a moment to breathe and reflect on what part of this journey resonates most with where you are right now. Have you experienced this shift within yourself the moment you stopped chasing and started choosing you? I'd love to hear your story in the comments below. Or, if you simply want to affirm this energy within your life today, type "I choose myself first" in the comments as a declaration of your sovereignty and self-love. Your words hold power. Let them become the vibration that aligns you with the love you truly deserve. Number 6. Case study: the patient who chose herself. Carl Jung documented numerous cases of transformation that revealed the sacred mechanics of love and energy. Among them was the story of a woman who spent years obsessively chasing a man she believed to be her twin flame. She invested her heart, her time, and her identity into the pursuit, believing that if she gave enough, he would finally reciprocate. But the harder she tried, the farther he drifted, as though each act of sacrifice only deepened the void between them. Her love had become a mirror of her own abandonment. She was unconsciously reenacting the loss of herself. Through months of therapeutic work, Jung began guiding her toward individuation, the process of reclaiming one's wholeness. Instead of analyzing the man, he turned her attention inward, helping her see how she had made him the vessel of her own unlived potential. Bit by bit, she stopped seeking validation through his presence and began nurturing her own growth. Her energy, once scattered in longing, began to stabilize into self-recognition. Something remarkable happened when she finally stopped chasing. Without warning, the man reappeared, this time not as a fantasy, but as a human being seeking her sincerely. Yet by then, the polarity had shifted. The magnetism she once tried to force now unfolded naturally, but she no longer needed it to feel complete. Through the process of choosing herself, she discovered something far more profound than romantic fulfillment: the experience of inner sovereignty. Her story revealed a universal paradox, that true union can only emerge when need dissolves. You attract not from emptiness, but from fullness. When love is born from self-completion, it becomes an expression of freedom, not dependency. What she learned, and what Jung so often witnessed, was that the deepest magnetism in life arises not when we reach outward for someone to complete us, but when we become whole enough to meet love by choice rather than by need. Bandanoi, mature love, abundance over lack. When the feminine becomes whole within herself, she no longer loves from dependency but from abundance. This kind of love gives rather than demands, celebrates individuality rather than consumes it. It allows both souls to coexist as complete beings, harmonizing without losing themselves. Jung called this the union of opposites, not fusion, but synthesis. Two whole beings, choosing consciously to create something greater together. This is the essence of the twin flame journey. Not finding someone to complete you, but finding someone complete enough to join you in co-creation. Number 7. Mature love, abundance over lack. When the feminine reaches a state of inner wholeness, love ceases to be a desperate search for completion and transforms into a radiant act of abundance. She no longer loves to fill a void, to be chosen, or to prove her worth. Instead, she loves because her heart overflows. Her love gives without depletion, uplifts without control, and honors the individuality of the other while remaining deeply rooted in her own. This is not love born of dependency, but of fullness, a steady current that nurtures rather than consumes. In this vibration, connection becomes celebration. Each partner remains complete in their own essence, standing side by side rather than merging into illusion. Jung described this sacred meeting as the union of opposites, a synthesis where two distinct beings choose, consciously and freely, to weave their energies into something greater than either could create alone. It is not fusion, not surrender of self, but harmony born of awareness. This is the true essence of the twin flame journey. It was never about finding someone to make you whole, but about awakening to your own completeness so profoundly that you attract another who has done the same. Together, you do not seek to fill what is missing, you unite to expand what is already abundant. Mature love, therefore, is not a transaction of needs but a creation of worlds, where both souls rise together in the beauty of shared wholeness. Imagine a woman who once believed love meant losing herself in another, constantly adjusting her tone, her dreams, even her silence, just to keep a man close. Every time he pulled away, she gave more, hoping her devotion would make him stay. But it only pushed him further, because her energy carried the weight of need, not the lightness of truth. One day, Exhausted from the cycle, she stopped chasing and turned inward. She began painting again, meeting friends, tending to the life she had once abandoned for love. Slowly, she became radiant in her own presence, grounded, fulfilled, alive. Months later, that same man returned, drawn not by her pursuit but by her peace. Yet this time, she did not rush to hold him. She smiled, recognizing that the love she had been seeking was already blooming within her. In that moment, she understood the deepest truth. True union begins when you no longer fear being alone, because your soul has already come home to itself. Number 8. The continuous path of sovereignty rewritten. Sovereignty is not a fleeting declaration of independence. It is a lifelong devotion to self-respect, integrity, and inner truth. True sovereignty means standing firmly rooted in one's authentic essence, even when love re-enters the picture. For the awakened feminine, reunion is not the end of her journey but the beginning of a deeper mastery. Many, upon finally uniting with their counterpart, unconsciously abandon the very wholeness that magnetized the connection in the first place. They slip back into patterns of dependency and emotional fusion, mistaking closeness for surrender. Yet the sacred path demands more than reunion. It calls for sustained individuation, where love thrives only when both partners remain anchored in their personal truth. Carl Jung described this as the highest stage of human relationship, the union of two individuated beings who meet not to complete each other, but to expand together. This is the paradox of divine partnership. The more whole you are within yourself, the more your connection deepens without distortion. When both the feminine and masculine embody their sovereignty, their bond transcends ordinary romance. It becomes a conscious union, a sacred mirror reflecting the divine essence that exists within both. In this state, love ceases to be a transaction of need or validation. It becomes a creative force, a shared expression of freedom and devotion. The feminine remains centered in her completeness, radiating from the fullness of being rather than the fear of loss. The masculine stands grounded in purpose and presence, honoring her independence as a reflection of his own. Together, they create harmony not through merging into one, but through the dance of two whole souls moving in balance. This is the true twin flame union. Not two halves desperately seeking completion, but two sovereign beings whose love arises naturally from inner fullness. It is the eternal journey of wholeness, meeting wholeness, authenticity, meeting authenticity, a partnership that honors both individuality and divine unity, where love is not dependency, but conscious choice. In the end, true love is not found in the arms of another, it is born in the heart that dares to return home to itself. As Jung revealed, love that is conscious does not emerge from longing or lack, but from two sovereign beings who have already chosen themselves. The feminine's greatest act of love is not pursuit, but remembrance, remembering that she has always been the source of light that the masculine seeks. When she stands rooted in her own radiance, she no longer waits for validation or runs after affection. She becomes the living embodiment of magnetic grace, and in that vibration, all that is meant for her begins to move closer naturally, effortlessly, inevitably. This is the difference between chasing love and becoming love. One drains your spirit, the other replenishes it. One seeks completion in another, the other celebrates wholeness within. When you anchor yourself in self-respect, self-devotion, and authenticity, union stops being a goal and becomes a reflection. The universe simply mirrors your inner alignment. So, if these words stir something within you, declare it now in the comments below. I choose myself first. Let that be your vow, not just for today, but for every moment that asks you to forget your worth. And if this message has spoken to your soul, let it ripple further, like, share, and pass this light on to others who need to hear it. When you're ready to go even deeper, stay with us and watch the next video below. Your path toward magnetic love and spiritual sovereignty continues right there.